Hey, what's up guys? This is T-Bone here. Welcome back to another episode of playing Gemstone Legends. So it's been a few days since I was able to make a video. I actually took the weekend and I spent some time to build a new computer and then transfer everything over. Took a few days to set up. It's all ready now and I'm looking forward to sharing that with you. But in this video, we're going to talk about the new heroes that have come out. So in the last video, I mentioned I'm going to talk about the new Ruthless Sorcerers, and this is the video that's going to cover them. And this is also the second sort of series of rare heroes in a row that we got that are in the Dark Followers faction. So after the Dark Elf Mages, we now have the Ruthless Sorcerer. I'm going to go over and talk about each of them. I'm going to give my ranking on which I think is the best out of all of them. And I'm going to talk a little bit about their skills and also who they pair with and how you could use them. And now for some codes. It is going to be US Thanksgiving pretty soon, so I wanted to celebrate with you all by giving you a couple of codes. First one is going to be T_gobble_gobble. And the second one is going to be T_give_thanks. I wanted to say also thank you to all of you for giving me the support for this channel, and I hope you all have a great holiday. All right, so let's go ahead and talk about number 5 on my list, which is Duradel. So I think that Duradel is a relatively good hero because of his active skill. So his special ability gives him ability to deal damage to a single enemy based on attack. And then he also has a 75% chance to inflict burn, bleed, and poison for a single turn. And if you max level his ability, then it's up to 100%. So on paper, that's actually a good thing because with those 3 negative stats, you can actually passively deal damage to the enemies on their turn so that they can lose some health. And that's a good thing. We generally like to see debuffers like this. But his passive ability, even though he can deal damage to all enemies and also inflict burn, poison, and bleed for all of them for a single turn. When he dies, it only happens once per battle. So if you revive him and he dies again, then you don't get the benefit anymore. And since it's really about his debuff capabilities that really defines his role, the fact that his passive ability only happens one time is what I think deducts points for me and placing him last in the rankings. As far as gear goes, for him, he's an attacker type that's based on attack, so you want to give him as much as attack as you can so that you can deal more damage. But because he's also a debuffer, you'll want to pay attention to some accuracy in your substats as well. I don't have the gears right now that show him with high accuracy, but if you really want to be using Duradel, then you need to pay attention to his attack as well as accuracy to really take advantage of his skills. Next on the list, we have Omen. He is a purple sniper. Okay, he deals damage based on attack to a single enemy, and then he ignores 40% defense. 40% defense ignore is a pretty big deal. There's not that many heroes that have it, so his overall damage is going to be higher relative to other heroes who have similar attack stats. His passive ability gives him survivability because he can steal life whether he uses gems to attack or he uses special skills. If you can max out his levels, he's going to be able to steal up to a quarter of his life every time he attacks. So that keeps him surviving longer. Now, the thing is, generally with snipers, you also want to see growth potential for the damage through either damage boost or attack boost, but he doesn't have any. And so while he's consistent and he can deal good damage overall, you don't really get a chance to really see him do more. He's just going to give you very consistent damage output, which is fine. But compared to his brothers, I think that this puts him just in the number 4 slots because there's 3 other brothers that can definitely do better. Omen's Awakening is focused on critical damage. And so what that means is you want to focus on his critical rate as well as his critical damage and then bring his attack value up. That's going to maximize his damage potential. Given that he doesn't have any additional boosts, this is how you can get the most out of him. You don't need to worry about accuracy because he doesn't do any debuffs. And so these are the stats to focus on when you gear him up. Coming in at number 3, right in the middle of the pack, we have, I'm going to call him Karen. It could be Karan, I'm not sure, but we're going to go with Karen. His special ability, he deals damage to a single enemy based on attack. That's pretty consistent with what we've seen so far. And he deals damage to a single enemy, though, based on 10% of the target's max HP. Now, this is significant because the more health an enemy has, the more damage you're going to be able to deal as well, which is going to scale a lot more than what other heroes can do with their own attack ability. And so this is what sets him apart from Omen, for example, and his passive ability gives him additional damage boost because he can deal 25% more damage to the targets that are above 50% health. And that actually increases his overall damage across the board, so it's a really nice synergy. He also has a mana gain increased by 1, and with a 24 mana gain base, that means he's going to be able to charge up his active skills much quicker than other heroes, and he'll be able to fire his skill over and over again, dealing lots of damage over time, increasing his damage potential. His Awakening skill focuses on attack, and so that means you don't have to worry about boosting his attack value as much. Rather, I would focus more on getting his critical damage to as high as possible so that you can increase his damage output. And claiming the number 2 spot, coming in the runner-up, is Zaff. Now, he and his brother Karen are what I would call a 1-2 punch. All right, if you take a look at his special ability, he will also deal damage to a single enemy, and he deals additional damage to an enemy based on 20% of their max or missing HP. So that means the more health that they're missing, the more damage you can deal, and it's 20% as opposed to 10% that Karen does. And so again, with heroes that have more health, that is going to be beneficial. And if you take a look at his passive ability, with his passive ability, he also increases his damage potential, but this time it's a little bit inverted where it's based on whether or not the enemy has below 50% health. And so he really comes in handy when your enemies are lower in health. And that 20% missing HP compared to 10% max HP is what I think gives him a little bit of an edge. He also has a mana gain of +1, but the difference here is his base mana gain is only at 22. So you do need to add at least 4 total caster gears on him if you want to have him compete at the same speed in terms of the mana gain as Karen. But I think overall, in terms of damage potential, he has a slight edge for me, and that's what puts him in number 2. His Awakening focuses on attack just like his brother Karen, and so the same principles apply. I would focus on more critical damage over pure attack value so that you can get more damage out of him overall. And coming in at number 1, taking the crown, is going to be Masseuse. Now, I'm not sure if that's the right way to say it, but I'm going to go with it. His special ability is what sets him apart from the rest of his brothers. And if you take a look, he deals damage to all enemies. So he's an AoE attacker, but it's based on health. So we'll talk about gearing after that. And he has another ability to remove 1 positive stats from all enemies. But take note, it doesn't actually have a percentage in front of it. That means this is a guaranteed action. So when you activate it, you're guaranteed to remove positive stats from all enemies, which is a huge skill. This is one of the most useful skills in general in this game. And so having this as a guaranteed ability just makes him stand out that much more. He also has a chance to inflict status block. So again, another one that really works well against your buffed enemies that like to buff themselves. This is another really good skill to have. So having all of this combined just makes it a no-brainer for me that he is coming in number 1. His passive ability is a little bit lacking though, because his accuracy does get increased, but only if there are living purple enemies. You don't generally get a chance to see a ton of them, although it could be very useful in Arena where you see a lot of Zarkons and a lot of Taiko-sans. Although you're probably not going to be bringing him usually in Arena to fight those enemies. And so I think his passive ability could be a little bit better, but he is really good overall already with that skill. And as I mentioned, because his attack is based on health, you're going to want to focus on HP as the primary stats as opposed to attack for the rest of his brothers. With the chest armor, you could choose to have accuracy or you could focus on health. Because his remove positive stats is a guarantee, that makes it a little bit less of a requirement. Okay, and so you can also focus on health for all of the gears if you want, because that makes it so that he is more of a debuffer rather than a damage dealer. If you take a look at his Awakening skill, his focus is on accuracy also. And so I think you can use the 50% accuracy increase and then just focus more on health to give him more survivability so that he can be in the background, just, removing positive stats and landing the status block and helping out the rest of the team. And that's going to be it for me for this video. Let me know what you think about this format, and also let me know what you think of the heroes, the rankings. Who do you have as your #1 pick? Let me know in the comments below. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I will see you in the next episode. Bye now.